Hi, this is Laura Funk. I am a nurse practitioner practicing functional medicine, but today I'm going to show you how to make ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. Some people have to be dairy-free, so you want to still have that flavor of butter though, so you can use ghee instead. So we're going to show you how to do that today. So when you're making ghee, you're going to use butter, just any old form of butter that you get from the store. I prefer something organic. If you can get something that's grass-fed and organic, that's fine as well. Making ghee is way more, I want to say cheap, but inexpensive is also the way to say it. So you're going to make some, a whole pound of butter is what you're going to use to make your ghee. You're going to need a pan to cook it in because we are going to bubble it down into a pan. And then you're going to strain it. So I use some cheesecloth on top of a metal strainer. And I usually put it over a measuring cup that's glass and easy to pour, because then when we're done, it's very, very hot. And then you're going to pour it into some glass containers. And so it's easy with the smudge. You can use any kind of glass container I reuse. You can use, of course, any mason jars or anything like that as well. And so let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start with, of course, taking the butter out of the wax paper wrap. This has been sitting out on the counter for a little while, maybe an hour, so it's semi-soft, but you can go straight from the refrigerator. You could probably even go straight from the freezer if you ever freeze your butter. Sometimes I do that to store it for a little while. So all 4 sticks of butter go into the pot, and then we move over to the stove. So here at the stove, we're gonna turn it on. The first melting down of the butter will take, I'm not sure how long, I don't usually time myself, but we'll get it down till it's all liquid. And then it's gonna go through a few stages of bubbling, and I'll show you each stage of the bubbling along the way. It looks different each time until we get to the brown bits at the very bottom. And that's where the magic happens. It really gets smoky tasting and quite yummy. So everything's melted down now. There's no more lumps of butter. And I'm stirring pretty continuously. We want to make sure that it doesn't burn, because butter can burn easily. So I don't have the temperature on very high, probably less than a simmer, but between a 3 and a 4 on my stove, which goes up to 9, and then the high temperature. So a fairly low heat is where you're going to keep it. It's not bubbling at all. It's just on a whitish kind of top color. Okay. So the butter's not clarified, it's not clear. You can still see that it's opaque. All right, so it's been a total of about 7 minutes since we turned it on, and it's starting to get some foamy bubbles in it, and you'll see the difference as it goes through each bubbling stage. This is the first bubbling stage. We are still at about a 3, or between a 3 and a 4. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit to a 3. So it's not bubbling so hard. You don't want it to bubble like it's boiling, but it almost is. So 2 minutes later, and it's clearing up a bit, and you can tell that the bubbles are more clear by looking at it, and you can almost see the bottom of the pan a little bit clearer when you stir it. It kind of just happens that quick that it's a different type of look to it. So now you can actually see a lot more bigger, clearer bubbles. It sounds a little different too. We are almost done. We're at the 11-minute mark. I can feel the spoon dragging just a little bit on the bottom. So keep the butter moving. You're getting that buttery aroma. Kind of smells like a movie theater at this time. Just keep stirring. I like to use the flat bottomed spoon because it kind of gets into all the crevices and the corners and the edge of the pan too. So you can use a round one, but flat one is what I prefer. At the last stage of bubbles, you're going to see a lot more dense bubbles. They're still going to be very clear and light and fluffy, if you could think of them as fluffy bubbles, but it's going to be more condensed on the pan. There's going to be a whole lot more of them. And then you're going to start to smell. I wish you had smell-o-vision. A little difference in the smell as well. It gets mustier, not a mustier smell, a smokier smell though. And there's a little deeper yellow to the pan, and that's when we're going to turn it off. So now we pour it through the strainer and through the cheesecloth. And then you can see these brown bits in the pan at the very end. Got to slow it down a little bit so it doesn't go over. So that at the bottom is the beautiful ghee. And in the bottom of the pan is what we want to keep out of the ghee, are those brown bits. So I leave most of those in the pan. And then I usually will use the spoon again and just kind of move the debris to the side to be able to keep the straining and get every little bit. I've got 2 small containers. You can pour it all into one if you'd like to, and then you probably wouldn't even need to use the Pyrex, but I separate it out so that I have one in the refrigerator and then one into the, or up on the counter. Don't be tempted to touch it with your finger. It is really, really hot at this stage. I know sometimes I want to taste it and I have to be patient and wait. So there you have it, homemade ghee in less than 20 minutes within a budget, which I really like a lot. So if you're interested in more about healthy eating and health in general to transform your health, you can follow me on Functional Medicine for New York, NY, Functional Medicine, FORNY, and we could work together if you'd like to find out more tips on how to improve your health. Bye.